Hello and welcome back to another episode of Mike's On with College Football Podcast. We're doing our first week of actual college football previews. We've got week 0 on deck coming up this Saturday. If you don't know, college football actually starts before Labor Day, the week before. It's this Saturday. We've got about 12 games to go through. We're going to hit them all. We're not going to hit every game every weekend because that would take hours, and I don't got time for that, neither do you. But we do got games this weekend, so let's talk about them. First up, we're looking at Austin Peay University, the Governors, going all the way to Western Kentucky, playing the Hilltoppers. That's at noon. Couldn't really find a line. Some of these FCS, FBS matchups don't always have lines or over-unders. However, obviously, I think Western Kentucky is going to win here. But in these kind of, cupcake matchups you get in these first week, we're not really looking to pick a winner here. We're looking to what do we see out of the winning team. Last year, Western Kentucky imported their entire offense from Houston Baptist University down in Texas and brought in a quarterback and some receivers and absolutely killed the game. Their quarterback was Bailey Zappi, who got drafted by the New England Patriots in the 3rd or 4th round, setting the record of 70 total touchdowns last year, 67 passing, 3 rushing, total of 70. They're not going to be that good. They won 9 games last year. They went to the conference championship. However, this year it's looking a bit of a retool year on offense. They've brought in a Division II quarterback, Austin Reed, looking absolutely massive, strong arm on that guy, and the defense returns a ton. Really what I want to see out of Western Kentucky is how they're kind of running their offense and if they're at all rusty, and how long does it take for them to really pull away from Austin Peay. They're gonna, but if they don't pull away till the 3rd quarter, that's not a really good sign. They want to look to pull away early. Next up, we're looking at Nebraska versus Northwestern. This game is, interestingly enough, in Dublin, Ireland. For some reason, I don't know who makes these decisions, but we're going to international with college football now to start the season. And a couple times, Rice and Stanford played in Australia, I think, in 2019. Weird. This game's at 12:30, so it's kind of in its own standalone spot. Line is Nebraska by 13.5. The over/under or total points in the game is predicted to be 50.5. I really like Nebraska to win here, but I think Northwestern is going to cover. So if you're going to pick a winner, I think Nebraska, but I think Northwestern is going to make this game closer. You really see in these early season games teams not be as crisp. I mean, they are 18 to 22-year-olds, and for some of them have been only doing this stuff for, like, if you're a freshman and you just came on, 2 months. If you're a sophomore, if you had a season and now spring and then this, still that's a combined like 8 months. So not a ton of time. Nebraska's looking to rebound after a disastrous 3-9 season. Some people will say it's the greatest 3-9 team that ever existed, which is pretty accurate. Hilarious to say, though. I love that sentence. With Texas transfer quarterback Hudson Card. They've reloaded there. He's pretty good. I think he'll be a solid quarterback and give them more options in the passing game than their original quarterback or former quarterback, Adrian Martinez. And they've got a new offensive coordinator in Mark Whipple, who we discussed was at Pitt last year, who really allowed Kenny Pickett to cook in that offense. A strong start here is everything for this Nebraska team. They're looking to just get to a bowl game this year. Nebraska has not been to a bowl game since 2016 and has not won a bowl game since 2019, the Foster Farms Bowl against UCLA. So winning here means everything for them. The rest of their non-conference schedule is not great. We'll touch that as we get into their conference preview later this weekend. For Northwestern, they're looking to bounce back again as well. They had a pretty rough last season and lost some key players on defense to the transfer portal. They do have probably the best offensive tackle in the NCAA this year, but they just couldn't score points last year. I think they averaged somewhere around 17 points. It was disgusting. They have to put points on the board to take some pressure off their defense. They're known for their defense. Pat Fitzgerald, their head coach, is a hard-nosed defensive football coach, but you can't win a lot of games when you score less than 20 points. So I'm looking to see in Northwestern, can they complement that defense with something on offense? They've brought in Ryan Helinski as a transfer quarterback here. He's bounced around the NCAA for a good while. Just looking for Northwestern to try to be a competent passing team and complement their defense a little bit. If they can elevate to an average offense, they could go bowling this year. Maybe it'll happen, maybe it won't. I think Northwestern, though, with their defense, will make this a low-scoring affair, and Nebraska, with as many transfers and retooling that they need to do on offense, might just come out a little sloppy, but they'll get the win. Up next, we've got Idaho State and at UNLV. That is Idaho State at the University of Nevada, Las Vegas. So, obviously, this isn't everyone's bread and butter game, and this is week 0, and it's fun, and you get to see all these weird teams that you don't really get to talk about much, and they're small, and normally they're bad. Idaho State won 1 game last year, and so did UNLV. Maybe they won 2, so not a lot of wins coming back between these two teams. This is a 3:30 kick Eastern. Could not find a line or a total on this. I think UNLV will win. The question is, when will they win? They should blow out this very bad Idaho State team. UNLV is in the 3rd year of their head coach. They're still kind of rebuilding that program. Never really was built, but okay. So they got to win here. Obviously, they're going to win here, but if UNLV doesn't blow this team out, that is terrible. That is not if this game it goes into the second half tight or into the 4th quarter tight, goodness, turn the TV on because we might have a meltdown over in Vegas on our hands. Watch out for that one if it's close late. Goodness gracious. We're going to move on to UConn at University of UConn at Utah State University. This is located in Logan, Utah, north of Salt Lake. It is a 4 p.m. kick. The line is Utah State by 26.5, and the total is 59.5. I think Utah State will win this, and the over will hit. Utah State was a really aggressive passing team last year. They've done a really good job of just kind of turning themselves into a high-powered offense with Blake Anderson, their coach. And he brought with him Logan Bonner over from Arkansas State, he's a 6th-year senior this year. So they're going to do really well. Can they shake the rust off a little bit? They've had some departures to the portal as well as just seniors. They had an 11-3 season last year and won the Mountain West. So normally with a group of 5 team like that, you're not – normally when you do have a good year like that, you don't normally follow it with another really good year. So look, I want to see Utah State get off to a strong start here. And I want to see fireworks. I want to see them coming out guns blazing because UConn is bad and UConn is bad, okay? So let's get it going. Let's get it going, Aggies. We got next game, one of our better games of the day, I think. Wyoming at Illinois. That's a 4 o'clock kick as well. Illinois favored by 11.5. The over-under set at 44. I think Illinois covers here, but we're going to play the under. Illinois in the 2nd year of Brett Bielema was very conservative last year. They ended up 5-7 and didn't have a great quarterback play and tried to really pound the rock. They do have a great running back this year coming back. We'll cover him later in the Big Ten preview. And Wyoming lost a ton to the transfer portal. I think Craig Bowl might be, I don't know. Craig Bowl is looking a bit old man yelling at the sky with some of these kids here. And there's not a lot of good things coming out of Wyoming in terms of positive PR from the player's perspective. I want to see Illinois be a little more multiple on offense. They did bring in a new quarterback this year, Tommy DeVito. Jesus, that'd be crazy. Tommy DeVito from Syracuse, who's a lot more mobile, strong arm, just a better quarterback than they had last year in Art Sikowski. And I want them to be able to throw it more. If this is a blowout against Wyoming, if you see Illinois get like 50 points, which obviously the over is probably going to hit, it's not going to be a good season for Wyoming because you really shouldn't allow Illinois to get that many points on you. So yeah, I think Illinois definitely wins here, but I don't see the over. I think both these teams like to play a little bit conservative, especially in week 1. I don't think Illinois is going to unload the cannon crazy with their passing attack, but I'm just looking to see some competency out of it. Going on to our next game, we've got Duquesne at Florida State. This is a Florida State team that needs to come out hot. They started 0-4 last year, ended up 5-7 as we covered in the ACC preview. And boy, howdy, do they just need to come out and smack somebody upside the head. They just bungled their FCS game last year against Jacksonville State. And just, I want 28 points in the first quarter. They return a ton. They return their quarterback. They return wide receivers. They return their offensive line. Isn't deep, but it's solid. Like, the defense should be nasty. Duquesne did win a lot of games last year in the FCS, but I want it, Florida State. I want it. I want to see it from you. I want to see you hungry out there, and I want to see you grabbing 28 points in the first quarter. Go Noles. If this is close late, eyes wide open, and my goodness gracious. Mike Norvell, sirens, ambulance, everything. Send it down to Tallahassee because we got a fire. Charlotte at FAU. This game is at 7 p.m. FAU is favored by 8 and the over-under at 60. The North Carolina kid in me really wants Charlotte to do something. They went to a bowl game in their first or second year with their head coach Will Healy, and it's kind of been a bit of just rocky road since then. We're 5-7 last year, lost the last 3 games. If they had won any of the last 3 games, they would have been bowl eligible. Just not finishing seasons and being a bit sloppy. I do want to pick the Niners here, but they lose too much. They lose a ton on offensive line. They lost a ton at the wide receiver core. They lost a ton on defense. It's just a team that probably needs another year before they're really ready to get back to bowl eligibility. So I'm picking FAU. They return a lot. Their quarterback is coming back. Their defense should be pretty strong. I think Willie Taggart is finally moving this team in the right direction. Last year was a bit of a weird, just sad team. So FAU should be back in form here. I'm taking FAU, but I'm also taking the under because I just don't think Charlotte can put up the points. They got in some transfers at offensive line, but I don't see it. I don't see them able to put up enough points to complement FAU here. FAU puts up 40. I don't think Charlotte's getting to 20. Maybe. But we're taking the under. I'm taking the under in a lot of these opening week games just because people are rusty. Guys are rusty. It happens. Now, on to our UNC Tar Heels. They're hosting Florida A&M University, the Rattlers. That is an 8:15 kick at Keenan Thompson Stadium. Yeah, we're going to say that. I'll get just ripped in the comments if that's wrong. Couldn't find a line on this one. Obviously, UNC is going to win, but what are we watching for? What do we want to see out of UNC here? I'm watching to see what UNC is doing at QB. We're going to see Drake May. We're probably going to see Jacoby Criswell. How does the offense move? What's our run-pass ratio? How are we doing in the pass game with some top receivers out? Or are we just going to play a little conservative and run the ball? But really in how the offense moves, is it because FAMU, Florida A&M, is just bad? Are they just getting a bunch of penalties, blowing coverages? Guys don't know. Oh, I thought a safety was over the top. Nope, it's man coverage. See ya. He's wide open. That doesn't tell you a lot if FAMU is just being bad. Or are they actually executing and they're using the talent to their advantage and just being better than FAMU. So that's what I really want to see out of the offense. Defense should shut them down. I want to see that UNC defense start punching people in the face. Like, if we're not going to see it this year, when are we going to see it? It's got to happen. They've recruited too well on defense for them not to start just punching dudes in the head early in the season. Now, we're getting into the nightcap here. We've got a really fun one out in El Paso, Texas. North Texas Mean Green taking on the Miners of UTEP. Actually, the banner on the channel is actually the UTEP Stadium, just because it's really just beautiful. Would love to go to a game out there. This game's at 9 p.m. Eastern. North Texas favored by 1, over under at 54.5. So it's basically just a pick 'em. And so when I was looking at this game, both teams return a really strong offensive line. Both teams return a quarterback, but UTEP's quarterback is much more of a thrower than Acuna, who's returning for North Texas. North Texas, I think they started 1-5 last year, or maybe even 1-6. I think they won their last 5 games to get bowl eligible. Pretty crazy. And what happened was they made a huge shift from kind of a spread attack to an under center run the ball attack, and even running from shotgun. They just became a much more run heavy team, and they return a lot of those offensive linemen that carried them to those 5-6 wins that put them into bowl eligibility. But I don't think they got much in the passing game. Now UTEP does lose their top 2 receivers, but I just think they're more multiple. I think they can, if both teams are running the ball as evenly, then it really comes down to who can hit a shot, who can hit a play action bomb. And I think Gavin Hardison gives UTEP the best chance to do so late in the game, set up a field goal, get out of here. I do think it's going to be an under, because if both teams love to run the ball that much, the clock's just going to be going, as well as not going to score as many points because you don't have the ball as much. So take UTEP and the under in that one. Now, here we go. Nevada at New Mexico State University, the pride of Las Cruces, New Mexico, at 10 p.m. Eastern. Stay up, folks. It's going to be a long one. We've got Nevada sitting at favorite at 9 and the over-under at 50. I'm picking the home team. Go Aggies. I think New Mexico State is going to cover. We're going to pick them to cover the 9 points. Maybe not win, but they're going to cover. This is our Sickos game of the week. If you're unfamiliar, there's a great Twitter handle on Twitter called Sickos Committee, and it's a college football-based Twitter account. And they always put out just these games and just stuff about teams that no one's going to watch. No one's going to watch this. I'll watch it because I'm a delinquent, and I'll do it. But you should. Just check it out. Nevada ranks dead last in returning production in the FBS. They are 131st. Their coach, Jay Norvell, went over to Colorado State last year, and he pretty much took all the good players with him, as well as some guys just aged out or transferred. There was even the best return. I heard this from Bud Elliott of Cover 3. He reported that the best defensive lineman who was going to return to Nevada failed out of school. So now their best returning starter on defense is now not there. They might be playing with a squad of 50% FCS caliber players, which is not good when you're playing a group of 5 schedule. New Mexico hired a new coach this past season, Jerry Kill. They finished 2-10 last year and lost a lot of quarterback play. But you know what? Screw it. If both these teams are going to be that bad, if Nevada is losing, what this really comes down to is Nevada losing that much returning production to where they're basically just starting from scratch. New Mexico State is ranked 78th in returning production. At least some guys are coming back and they know what they're doing. Nevada is on a complete ground-up rebuild, reinstall. And if they're not ready to roll, at least New Mexico State has some sort of idea of what they want to do with personnel. I think this game is going to be weird. It's going to be gross. I expect a ton of penalties, and I expect a ton of lack of execution on both sides of the ball. Las Cruces, New Mexico State's, the city where they're in and their stadium is absolutely gorgeous. This will be kicking off around 8 local, so maybe the sun is just setting. So there'll be some really nice shots of the sunset over the New Mexico desert. So that's at least something to look forward to. But yeah, I'm going to take New Mexico State here to cover. It should be a really weird, odd, and dumb game. Tune in for a little bit, not a lot of it. If it's close late, watch the mayhem because both teams are really going to try to win this one. Our last game of the night, we are going to go to Vanderbilt at Hawaii. The Commodores of Vanderbilt from Nashville are traveling all the way out to the islands to play the Warriors of Hawaii. That is a 10:30 Eastern kick, so very nice of them to not stick that at the midnight slot. We've got Vanderbilt is favored at 8 points, the over and under at 53. I am picking, as we know, as anyone knows, that hat right there. I don't know if you can really read it. It says "Go Bows, University of Hawaii." I'm a big Hawaii guy. They got a new head coach coming in. They're not so great on returning production. They rank 128th, but I'm picking the Bows. Hawaii's in total rebuild mode after this dismissal of Todd Graham. They rank, as I said, 128th in returning production. For Vandy's sake, they might not win an SEC game this year, a game in conference for them. So every game on their non-conference schedule is crucial for them to build any sort of success off last year. But screw it. Go Bows. First-year head coach Timmy Chang, who was a quarterback for Hawaii in the late 90s, early thousands, was very successful with that program. I think he's going to rebuild the culture. I follow them on Twitter, so I see a lot of Hawaii stuff, and it looks really positive. What's coming out of there? Guys that are the guys that got in there that are bought in are really bought in. So this team, if anything, is just 100% committed. I think Vanderbilt shows up, and Hawaii just has Matzi all over the field. Culture. Doing it for the brotherhood, as they call it out there. Hawaii with the win, man. Why not? It's week 0. Let's see what happens. If they get killed, they get killed, and okay. All right. Hawaii's not looking so hot. But what an upset that would be, right? This game's going to finish like 1:30, 2 o'clock Eastern. I'll be up. You won't. But I will be. And good night if Hawaii wins this game. That'd be a great week 0 send off going into the first 5, the run up into the first weekend of college football next weekend on Labor Day. So that's it, guys. That is all the games. We've got 12 of them to look forward to. Actually, only 11 games coming to you this Saturday. And that's all our picks. We've got Western Kentucky beating Austin Peay, Nebraska winning, but Northwestern covering in Nebraska Northwestern. UNLV, obviously, in their win against Idaho State. Utah State winning over UConn. Illinois not covering, they're favored. Illinois beating Wyoming, but the under hits there. Florida State over Duquesne. FAU in the under in FAU Charlotte. UNC obviously beating FAMU, UTEP and the under in North Texas UTEP, and New Mexico State. I didn't pick an over under there. 50. Take the under. Sicko's game of the take the under. Live a little over. Why not? This game could get wild. And Vandy Hawaii, I'm taking Hawaii and the under, because if Hawaii is going to win, it's not going to be a shootout. This game's going to be played in a phone booth and be weird, and penalties and lack of execution and just bad punts and a punt block. So that's it, guys. As always, like and subscribe. Hit the bell notification so you know when I post new videos. If you want to, you can follow me on Twitter at BigMike212. I'll also put that in the description so you guys can follow me there. Launching this channel, this is the 3rd video I've put out, and I'm liking all the feedback I'm seeing. Have fun, guys. Enjoy the college football season, and I'll be here to help you through it. As always, drop all questions in the comments. Would love to see it, as well as feedback of how I'm doing. Have a great day. Enjoy it. We'll see you next time.